Good, Geoffray?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys ready? You gonna count it, Bill, or Peter? You have the count.
I count.
Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't see me this summer, if you want to know what I'm doing, I dropped out of the sun. I'm having more than one rubies on a summer afternoon. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here each one tastes as good as the last. They set me up and I don't have to ask. I love the boardwalk by the side of the sea. But most of all, tell them we love rubies. So if you don't see me this summer, if you want to know what I'm doing, I don't out of the sun. I'm having more than one rubies on a summer afternoon. Rushing through this changing world now, flying summer across the sea. People say that I should be happy, but there's one place I'd rather be. Rubies on a summer afternoon.
Take another look. Strand, come up there. This Strand, the new bass player, Kenny Fox, Bill Milheiser, beat those things, punish them, punish them, punish them. I am what I am.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Fleshtones must be the only band that debuted at CBGB's in 1976 in their case, without ever breaking up, without ever having a single inactive year, always recording, always touring.
Our contemporary culture where there's so much endless focus on being famous and how to become famous. This is a great story. This is about people who never really made it, but they're getting a lot of what they want out of life and out of what they do.
We're gonna meet tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be by about
9. I'll be there.
They never had a lot of success, they never made a lot of money. They're loved and they're great, but you know, they just keep plugging on.
It's a story less about a band than it is about men sticking to their principles.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a rare occurrence. I'm not going to say a lot of words. I'm going to tell you from the bottom of my heart, this is one of the greatest live rock and roll bands in the world. One of my absolute favorites. I am so proud in my little shithole of a bar to have the world famous Fleshtones.
I took some people to see Fleshtones just last year that had never seen them, and they're like, holy shit, who are these guys? You know, they've been around 30 years and they've got 20 albums out or something.
He's our guitarist. He's the guy with the silver hat. But our bass player isn't wearing a hat, and neither is our drummer. Ladies and gentlemen, this song is from our new record. It's called I'm Going Back to School.
They glow. They come in the room and they're just like radiant.
I'm going back. I'm going back.
Their connection is to the genuine rock and roll music, the quintessential American garage rock sound.
When I go back to school, all the students gonna look at me. They're gonna wonder what I'm doing there. I got a lot to learn, so
Fleshtones do a uniquely rock and roll show. It's constant movement, no gaps, no long drum solos, no long guitar solos.
Going back to school, I'm going back.
You could see it in their performance. They never mail it in, they walk the walk. They are the real thing. They are a real party band.
The interaction between the Fleshtones and the audience is absolutely key to the band. They do whatever they can to dissolve that wall between the stage and the crowd.
They've always kind of personified that energy and that spirit of rock and roll.
The Fleshtones are very sincere about what they do. And that's something that you sense when you talk to them. It's something you sense when you see them live. It's also something you sense when you listen to their songs. But it's especially something that you recognize when you stand here in 2007 and you look backwards for 30 years. Something had to have been the glue.
Just a little boy, when I was a little boy.
Before the Fleshtones actually became a band in the spring of 1976, Keith Strang and Mark Pekulski had rented a house in Queens, in Whitestone.
Pray to God, my wicked son, for all your sins. So when you die, say.
And we go down to the basement of the house, and what do we find? But we find some discarded instruments. Japanese guitar and a Japanese bass guitar.
I don't even think I had a bass strap. I think I had a piece of electrical cord from like a lamp that was over my shoulders and was playing that. It was ridiculous. And it sounded like shit.
But we were making a lot of high volume noise and a lot of feedback with a lot of energy. At that time, in 1975, music was hopeless.
It started to become cumbersome as virtuosity increased.
And what the Ramones did, of course, was blast that away and just make it return to what it should be, something simple, minimal, and fun. Simultaneously, we knew a guy, Peter Zaremba. I think he moved out of home in Flushing, Queens, and he found a place in the city. He was attending School of Visual Arts.
I never had the balls to sing. I was playing the harmonica in private.
So then we started talking about forming a group and getting Peter to be the lead singer, and it was just kind of like, people who were unlikely.
We always envisioned ourselves as trying to build a house with very faulty lumber. One time they were jamming down in Keith's basement, and I whipped out the harp and I just started playing with them.
Just do it, because at that point you're not imitating anything. You can't, because you don't know how to play. So whatever you're going to do is going to be your own take on anything. At that point you're going to only create. And at that point we didn't have a drummer. We met Lenny Calderone and became friends and welcomed him into the Fleshtones world.
And word spread out.
We were having parties, well, at least once a day.
They became so popular that the basements became crowded, jammed with people. A fog would develop that would just sort of descend over this thrumming crowd of people that were getting off and grooving on the Fleshtones.
They had these blue whale parties. They had a giant tub, like a cauldron, like the type of thing you'd make 100 scouts a bowl of soup with, It was huge. And they put all this crazy curacao and vodka and, limes and lemons, and it was real. You drink this stuff, and it was like, gasoline. It was like intense. It was underneath a bridge, and it was exciting because you hear the cars going over and everything, and the band would play. It was really a lot of fun. And I had never really experienced that much music.
Next step is, what we got to go to play CBGB's. But really, people in Queens, New York had no idea that there was a scene in New York City happening. They're basically shut out of the world in a way, in this bubble.
Hey, yeah, there you go. That's real good. You can give this back to the drummer and to the bass player.
And we knew that CBGB's had a audition night every Tuesday night. And I can tell you CBGB's phone number right now because I used to call it all the time. It's 212-982-4052. You would get Hilly on the phone. I remember our first gig, I was scared stiff. We were pretty awful, but we somehow managed to get through it. I think we played 20 minutes. And Hilly liked us enough to give us like a shot, you know, like, and a shot meaning being third on the bill on a Wednesday or a Monday night.
Listen here, I want all you soul people to gather around. I've got a brand new dance I've got to put down.
But, you know, getting a shot to play on the stage the Ramones played on, or Blondie or whoever at that point.
The Fleshtones came on the CBGB scene a little bit late to enjoy the initial really thunderous success of CBGB's. Bands like Ramones, obviously, and Television, and Suicide, and Blondie, and Talking Heads. And part of the problem with the Fleshtones is that they were looked at by many people as outsiders on the ballot in the CBGB scene.
We didn't fit in. We never got on any of the bills that we thought we deserved to be on.
At that point, we became more of a Max's Kansas City band because we were getting better gigs there, just more attention.
There were very few bands at the time who were wearing their 50s and 60s influences on their sleeve like the Fleshtones were.
Whenever they come to my house, they play soul records. And their show has that total James Brown on the Tammy Show energy.
Early on, clubs, even CBGB's in Max's Kansas City, when you would go see rock and roll shows, people didn't dance. We figured, like, we need to find a place where we can play where people can dance. We need to go outside the club structure of New York City.
Now, Hurrah, before it became a rock place, was the hottest disco in New York. The energy, the very seductive glamour of the whole thing. It was unbelievable.
People come to the Fleshtones, they would become energized instead of just watching the band. And I saw that a lot, and I tried to kind of capture that in my film, Soul City. It was around 17 months of production.
Scene 1, take 2.
Okay, you guys, where are we going? Go, let's go!
We wanted photographs that had come to life. We had the 35mm motion picture camera there with the black and white negative in it, and I shot like a master shot and 2 or 3 or 4 other close-up shots. Then I would go to the photo lab and make all these prints, and then I would cut them out with a X-Acto knife, and then Peter and I would sit there and we would just paint the color of the faces in, because we didn't really want, we wanted the Fleshtones to be flesh-toned. I was very much interested in the after image in your eye. Like if you show green and then you show white, you see an after image. The chemicals respond to color in the way that they flush, they change. You can introduce all these kind of psychedelic or manufactured colors that are manufactured right on the retina of your eye. I like when it goes and
So that's, one of the things that I thought was always really great, because most of the garage bandy bands in the 80s, they just listened to Question Mark and Mysterians and the Shadows of Night and the Music Machine and just did exactly what they did, which, it's a copy. And what the Fleshtones do isn't a copy, it's a combination of a couple things.
Peter told me once that you go to television and they were great, but you were kind of standing there watching them, studying them, even though you were grooving on it. You go to discos, you go to Studio 54 or some of these places on the west side and you would dance them all night to just great passionate R&B. And what he wanted to do in the Fleshtones was kind of meld the street rock idea of CBGBs in the Bowery with the high intensity R&B and the gaudiness and the gay camp and all that kind of fun, sort of cartoony aspect of disco together.
They were like probably the hottest dance band that New York has seen forever.
Crucial elements of the Fleshtones. I think it was Zaremba's ability to force that crowd to pay attention. It's like there was no way you were going to get in there and just sort of hang around and just start gabbing with a friend or something. Zaremba would be up there like a dictator.
Everything is fine. Now I'm always here to have a good time. Never wondering.
It's like, hey, let's get this thing started. Let's get this party going. There's no way he was going to be ignored.
I'm gonna keep it that way. I'm gonna keep it that way. Do everything for me now. I'm gonna keep it that way. Long as I can now. I'm gonna keep it that way.
He knew, developed an ability to control the crowd very early on.
I'll get you now.
What Gordy did on stage was to channel the terrible pain of his life. He was just kicked in the teeth by life, by his family, and he would draw all of this very intense, very painful, very psychotic things that happened. And then he would project it back to the audience. He had that bug-eyed look of insanity, and it's like, he was like a demon. He was a mesmerizing stage presence.
Keith is from this Germanic background. It's very precise. If you made one little mistake on stage, Keith would we called it the head snap. You know, Gordon and I, because Gordon and I would make mistakes, you know. And so as soon as somebody made a bad note, Keith would go like that on stage. And it was like, don't do that. The audience doesn't know that you've just made this mistake. But as soon as you give the head snap, they know that okay, the bass player just fucked up.
The Fleshtones really never acted like they had rehearsed any kind of an act on stage. You know, it pretty much seemed like a garage band playing at a party in the basement. You know, being like a young goofball coming from the Midwest into New York City. These guys seemed really approachable and like total pranksters and wanting to just have a ball and not be too worried about image.
There was always something inventive. Those guys really knew how to whip the crowd up.
Surprise things that would happen. You go, man, I can't believe James Brown just did the splits right there, you know, and he threw the cape on him. All the things he would do. The Fleshtones had that same thing alive, where there was, jumping off the stage and marching out the club into a taxi cab.
And we were starting to get a following. You know, the critics appreciated what we were doing. Guys would come over to us after a set and say, "We love you, that was a great set. We're starting to open a club in Hoboken. And it's called Maxwell's, and we want to know if you'll come play there." And that was starting to happen all sorts of places. New clubs were springing up, not the ones like out in Queens where they wanted cover bands, but clubs all over the country were starting to open up.
The party begins roughly in 1980 and ends roughly in 1988. And it was, quite frankly, their one and only brush with conventional fame and conventional success. They were on IRS from 80 to 85. This was the label that made REM, that made the Go-Go's.
Suddenly, we're starting to have all the ingredients that we thought a working professional band would have. The lawyers, the managers, and now a record label who was working with bands we respected. It was, okay, this had become real. There's the Hollywood nights and those Hollywood hills, and I just was like, my God, this is so unreal.
They were playing the world for the first time.
The fans in Europe were so much more into us, much more than England had ever been. We go to Paris, big theater, and just it turned into a bedlam. Just exploded, out in the street, and it's like in England they were like throwing shit at us, like get the fuck off the stage. And in Paris they're carrying us out into the street on their shoulders. We would go to Italy, for example, and find ourselves playing inside the courtyard of the palace. It's like, oh, Bob Dylan was here last weekend, and now it's you guys.
Long green, you're the root of all evil. Long green, you're the root of all evil. Oh.
They were being flown out to LA, they were staying at the Tropicana.
They would hold court there. They would take over the whole hotel. They would take over the swimming pool. They would invite everybody, all the cool musicians and rock critics and scenesters in LA and Hollywood.
Sort of for the first time, we had this sense of being in this new club, new peer group. I was like, all right, now we're going to sit by the pool in the California sun. For every New York kid, that's kind of a dream.
So it was a big party that lasted for years. Even after they were finally removed from IRS Records in 1985, they would still have a great reputation for phenomenal live shows. They were still selling out venues in major cities. And so it was a big party.
Fleshtones missed their big chance at success in, I would say, 83, 84, particularly when they were invited to do the soundtrack for the Tom Hanks film, Bachelor Party. They contributed a couple of songs. One of them, American Beat 84, big name producer Richard Gotterer, who did the first two Blondie albums. That had the potential to break the band. They were invited to go to the premiere for Bachelor Party.
And we sit and watch this movie, and I have to admit, too much sun and beer, I was tired, and the movie wasn't really doing it for me. I fell sound asleep. I started to snore. Tom Hanks was sitting right behind me. I was introduced to Tom Hanks after the movie. Luckily, he didn't punch me for snoring and falling asleep during his first movie.
Sooner or later, reality came crashing in, as it always did for the Fleshtones.
Reminds me of how we parted.
As you get used to this, you start to see how much of the music industry is just promotion and, money, and everybody out there knows it and just keeps paying lip service to like, oh, you're great, love you, It's the way the game is played.
Around the time that Mark left were very tough times in a certain way. I mean, we were very popular to a degree.
Years of working together and seeing a certain amount of success, and then and being very frustrated at the same time. So what tends to start to happen is you start pointing fingers.
A rainbow in my heart.
By the time he left, he was in a relationship that he wanted really to get out of. The relationship of being in the band.
They were holding me back. The songwriting team of, Zaremba and Strang was good to a point. They had great insight, but technically they were missing some of the elements that a great band needed.
So after a while, it just got harder and harder to deal with him. You know what I mean? So that by the time he left, it was like a divorce. Like I didn't want to see him go, but it was good that he left.
I missed playing with them. I mean, I loved all of them, and we had a lot of fun. And getting up there and playing a lot of that music was just, it's one of the high points of my life.
Particularly the late 80s and the early 90s were a difficult time for the Fleshtones.
Mark quit the band, left the band in 1986, and they could never really hold on to a bass player for the next few years. Their profile really, really dropped. They just became an invisible band in America. They had no label for years, and it wasn't until the end of the decade when Gordon Spaeth began to really suffer from his drug abuse and his alcohol abuse and some mental illness. Keith Strang slowly but surely began increasing his use of heroin. Part of what was difficult for the band, and for Keith in particular, Gordon having left the band in 1988, was balancing this sort of triangle between life on the road, life as an addict, and home life.
Hey, Mr. Custer, do you mind if I be excused for the rest of the afternoon?
Keith became a dad in 1993, but did not really seriously curtail his drinking and his drug use for a few more years after that.
After the IRS label, they never had a label that stayed in business for more than 6 or 8 months, as far as I can tell. I guess Ichiban put out 2 records in a row, but it's really hard to build up any steam. As much as you don't want to think of it as a career, you have to have a record label, or you have to have some way to have your records reach the public. And if every record you put out comes out on a label that goes bankrupt 2 months later and you got to start over, it's no way to keep any momentum going.
We actually had to do things entirely by ourselves to keep the band putting out something new in order to go out and promote something, to have something to say.
If I was a drowning man, drowning in the deep dark sea.
They were on the same label as lots and lots of bands that had chart success, radio success, video success. They sold lots and lots of records in the 80s, and the Fleshtones had their shot, and it didn't come close, really.
And you see other people around you, it's happening for them, it's happening for people you know. And at what point do you say to yourself, do we keep going? Should we give up?
Well, you pull me aboard your bedroom in the lifeboat.
But basically everything was always like a little half step down. Not a full step, but maybe a quarter step down, a little incrementally ratcheting down.
Most bands quit. The party was over. The lights went on. it was time for them to go home.
Although I never had any thought that the band would stop at all. Finding Ken was the lifesaver. Ken's enthusiasm is so much that, if I'm like just sometimes getting a little blah about things, Ken's enthusiasm always carries the day.
But I know I'm gonna make it, 'cause I see the lights, alive and surviving, that's right, the cards of love.
But who would have ever thought he would still be in the band, enjoy what he's doing, on top of that, take over the merchandising and do an incredibly great job with that.
Yeah, come on and hit me. That's what I say. Come on and hit me.
He's saved the band every day for the past almost 2 decades now.
And then this is the more expensive one. This is $20 because it's a double record. Get right to the nitty gritty. Just sell the merchandise. And this whole out of the back of the trunk thing, I'm really digging. I think this is the way to go from now on. Just show up, sell merchandise. Don't do a show. Don't even bring the guitars.
My baby's gonna catch that train to New York City. My baby's gonna catch that train to New York City.
He's a great bass player. He's a great guy, and he loves the band. We couldn't have been more fortunate, That would have been the thing that eventually I think would have maybe made the band stop functioning.
And usually we do everything ourselves because we're not away that long. And I kind of coordinate everything. We don't have a manager. We have booking agents to take care of the booking of the band. But as far as putting the nuts and bolts together to make the Fleshtones go out and play, I take care of all that. Hotels, airplanes, cars, what time, where people got to be, all that kind of jazz. I don't need to pay somebody 20% of gross money to do that.
Robert, where's the kitty cat? I hope he's alive, but then again, I hope he's dead.
The cat might be alive, the cat might be dead. We're hoping it's dead.
Caffeine and some standard Lipton or...
That'd be nice if you have some I'd share with you.
We hope he's in cat heaven.
I would.
I would drink that too. That sounds very, very nice. No one had a car. Pete was the only person who had a car.
I saw this cat leave my pad, and this made me awfully sad. And in the meantime, I was getting mad. I said, "What explanation, baby, do you have?" She said, "Ooh."
A lot of people say, "Oh man, you're on tour." Yeah, well, sort of. I mean, we're playing 3 shows in a row and we're going home.
Next time, she said, next time.
And then next weekend we're not doing anything. The weekend after that we're going to like Chicago. So people assume that we're playing like every night, But if you do that, then you're playing like Monday nights. Where are you going to do that? Where are you going to do a satisfying show on a Tuesday night? Where are you going to do a satisfying show on a Wednesday night, right? All those bad nights, those horrible nights, the nights that make people in bands want to kill themselves. Quit, right? Quit.
Next time, I said next time.
Take the fun out of it, right? Forget it. You don't need to do that stuff. To say, oh, it's sort of a lucrative situation, that's why they're together. I mean, you see the way we, just to make a trip like this possible, the way we double up in rooms and stuff,
My dreams are afraid, my jeans and shoes more. One more big night, another bitter dawn.
Sometimes we are not earning much money, or any money, and the only way we're earning money is that we cut down, always finding ways to cut down expenses. Cut down the overhead until it's underhead.
Give my life away for a few good memories and a pocket full of change.
Here, we're lucky that Dale is letting us stay at his house. You were asking about 2 guys sleeping in one bed, 4 people in one hotel room. This is when we don't have to do that, when we crash at somebody's house. 20 some odd years ago, I was making more money then than I'm making now. Now it's like 35%, and then the writing is 35%. And the rest is like either not happening or trying to do something else.
Or is it, I get 45 an hour doing this stuff, is that okay? Yeah, you have to make a living. We never had a hit record. See, hit records generate money, and then you can maybe think about taking vacations and going away and not playing, which probably would have been destructive for the Fleshtones. Here's my flyer, Jeff. Am I doing it wrong?
I mean, yeah, you know, if we had tons of money and stuff, money would tend to break people apart. And I think it would also, at a certain point, if you really had enough money, you might be tempted to say, look, I really don't need to do this. You know what I mean? That would be a mistake, mind you, but it would be a temptation.
Too late to rearrange, but I didn't sell my soul. At least I've nothing for it to show.
Just down the street, a little Polish place.
Yeah.
Jelly donut, powdered sugar, and a little coffee for like 90 cents. Not a bad deal.
Foreigners understand what this is. This is money. This is for you.
Why?
This is for
That blowjob from
yes.
1983?
No, before that.
I've been just kind of lazy lately, just sitting around playing bass and writing songs. What I do for a living is I'm a contractor. I build and renovate and refurbish people's houses for a living. And my wife has sort of very sheepishly said that maybe it's probably a good idea that I get my ass out of the office and go make some money because we're really broke.
This is what we call the buyout, instead of getting a little food to eat at the club.
And what can you do with your buyout money, Billy?
Well, we just spent it today at Ribs, the National Rib Joint. We already spent our buyout.
The band actually likes each other. We're one of those rare rock and roll bands where we enjoy each other's company. We like to go out and have dinner together when we're on tour. We enjoy a lot of the same things. We have the same taste in music and movies and reading and even politics to a degree.
By sheer luck, I didn't bring my checkbook.
And I don't have any tank tops.
And of course, when we go on these little tours, I'm looking always for things I don't know. Something new again, because that's, of course, part of the fun.
Hey, not me, the turtle.
The turtle soup, huh? Turtle soup tonight. That's the alternative to not doing the motel thing. And when staying at a friend's place, you never exactly know what you're going to encounter. This is our new roommate tonight. A new friend. Usually it's cats and dogs, but now also a pig. She's pretty nice. In the course of doing an album, I'll probably end up with 5 or 6 tapes, you know, at various stages. When you're just there in a room, everyone is very exposed. You know, everyone can hear if I'm bouncing my foot on the ground, pretending it's the bass drum. Everyone can hear it and say, well, you know, maybe change that.
People, listen, gather around and hear what I say. If you think you're getting sadder, go get yourself a ladder and climb out of that hole right away. 'Cause there's no greater wealth than your mental health. You better love yourself, 'cause if you don't, then no one else will. Sometimes you gotta treat yourself, you know? Hardships of the road, all that stuff.
Instrumental.
Go on, first. Hang out. You can stay, but I gotta go. Who's looking out for you? Afraid they might ignore you until you're left with nothing to show. You try and act so tough, but baby, that's not enough. You better love yourself, 'cause if you don't, you know no one else will. You better love yourself. You better love yourself. You better love yourself. You better love yourself. You better love yourself.
Can you get a little more volume on stage? Guitar vocal, check. Oh, yeah!
Yeah, I remember one time in Detroit, we were playing at a place called Harpo's, and it was a big heavy metal place, and nobody showed up.
Hey, yeah, that's good for Peter. Give him a nod, he needed it. Yeah, check. Hey!
It's just the staff just hates us. But you can see there's one guy in the audience, and he's way, way back at the end of this club. You can see him up there. He's got a beer in his hand. And about during the fourth song, he starts walking down and coming through the tables and coming down the stairs, and he's getting closer and closer, and he comes right up in front of Zaremba, and he just gives him the double flying bird and just says, "You guys suck." I just remember saying, you know, this is the lowest you can go. This is just the absolute bottom rung of the ladder. We've achieved it, boys. We've really hit the bottom.
Just sticking with it through thick and thin all those years is really a testament to, you know, the vision they had and the idealism they had in their room.
If you can get up on that stage and have a good night anyway, despite whatever life throws at you, whether it's, as I say, you know, financial ruin, then you probably have what it takes, and those guys definitely have what it takes.
And yet, there is more! There is more! There is more!
They explode every night on stage, and every show is like it's the most important show of their career.
Well, come on! Yeah, could I be wrong? Well, come on! Ooh, coming on too strong. Well, come on!
It's like they're condemned to be in the Fleshtones because they have no other choice. They're compelled.
Tell your girlfriends, and your boyfriends too, that they haven't a clue.
Many musicians have that experience of arriving at a venue and, you know, it's not as packed to the rafters, or else it's a nightmare. You know, you've got horrible sound and you know, you've driven for 12 hours and you're just exhausted.
I'm never relaxed. I'm a notorious head counter. When we're at a venue, I'm always watching all the people come into the show. I'm saying, okay, we've got 50 people here. You know, this sucks. Okay, we got 75 people here. It sucks a little less. Okay, now the place is starting to fill up. I'm starting to relax a little bit. I said, maybe the club owner will be okay. And you know, you're starting to feel the sweat recede a bit from your collar. And hopefully by the time we hit the stage, the place is full, but it doesn't always work that way.
20 minutes. 20 minutes. If we don't have more people in here paying, we'll do a sweep of the neighborhood.
A walk by?
Yeah, we'll do a sweep.
You did a pickup?
Yeah, we'll sweep of the neighborhood, pull them in. Working in the entertainment industry. What the fuck are you doing down? Get the fuck, he's laughing. Come on up here. Now look, this is what we got. I got everyone from the bands up here, and we got the audience down there. And now at this point, I think we got more of us up here than down there. And I think, okay, here's what I wanted to say. I think we can take you. Just try it. Come on, we can take you. There's more of us up here than down there. Wait a second. I just want everyone to have a good time. Are you feeling good? Say yeah. Yeah.
They commit to bringing rock and roll to as many people as they can. Sometimes it's only 3 or 4. Sometimes it's hundreds and hundreds. But they're going to behave the same in front of 500 as they do in front of 3 because it's the same love of rock and roll that they have.
Never play the audience cheap, even if there is no audience.
Everybody move on up and take a good look.
Why punish those who came by doing a lesser show? They're the ones who came. If anything, play even better.
Trying to understand the Fleshtones just by listening to their songs is like trying to understand a party you weren't at.
Slip your body into until it's nice and loose.
You know, you can see the pictures, but you weren't there. You can hear their songs, and they're great songs and they're fun songs, but until you see them, and until you see them more than once, and until you recognize that they did this show last night somewhere, the same intensity, and they're going to do it tomorrow night, the same intensity, and they've been doing this for 30 years, that's when you really get the Fleshtones.
When I'm the push-up man, watch me do my thing. You push my button, and then I go to motion.
I don't know if it's purely recognizing that that's what they are and that's who they are that keeps them going.
I'm the push-up man, going up and down as fast as I can. Look at that push-up man.
Being a Fleshtone is so important to, well, not just everybody else, but to them. They can't help themselves.
Well, I'm the push-up man. Watch me do my thing. Yes, I'm the push-up man. I'm the push-up man. Hey, as fast as I can. As fast as I can. There's no wasting time. No wasting time. I do another 10. I got another 10.
I think that the fans that they've gotten over the years have been because of their hard work and their shows.
But certainly their sustained popularity in Europe, in France in particular, was a great lifesaver.
European audiences sometimes are a little bit more interested in the kind of pure fruits of what America is. In France, you know, they're kind of seen as like kind of these rock ambassadors.
I wouldn't say it's huge, but I would say it's a great cult fan base and a very dedicated one in a good part of Europe. And that's why we still love to go there.
Otherwise, we would be reduced to being pretty much a hobby.
You just can't go on anymore. You play one dive after another in the United States and you go home broke. But then you go to Europe and the audiences are bigger and they treat you well and you have the time of your life and you say to yourself, this is why I do it. It's really just the vindication of saying, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not just out there jumping up and down for my own sake.
In this world, I mean, there's few things that are more important than passion, and I think that they live it.
The world is mine. Take a good look at it. It's upside down, too. It's upside down.
In the sense that they've always have felt that they were always on the outside looking in, always on the outside of commercial success, on the outside of the CBGB's celebrated Please Kill Me scene, looking in. They've always been sort of pushed to the side.
Why are the Fleshtones not even mentioned in Please Kill Me? And I think there's a few reasons why.
You know, we weren't in that mix.
We were never accepted as part of that crowd anyway.
You know, we were on the outside.
One of the things that bothers me and makes me sad, actually, is that I feel like, you know, here we are, you know, ignored and written out of history. If you're written out of history, then it's like you didn't exist.
'Cause I ain't got no hope. Man, you've got to help me discover. Yeah, I'm just an outcast. I beg, please. You gotta help me, help me, help me, help me, help me, baby.
But often in reading Please Kill Me, Peter would be reading about a scene or a bill where they'd say, well, the Ramones played and then television played. Peter was like, we were on that bill. We were the band that played first.
This is shower curtains made out of old CBGB's ads. Actually, if you look for the Ramones, you'll see the Fleshtones.
So the Fleshtones are all through that book because they were standing right there, but they were just never mentioned.
Everything that we like, that's really cool and good, usually gets taken away somehow. Also, time passes and things disappear, unfortunately. Who would ever think CBGBs could be gone? You know, it's really a historic place. Should have been saved somehow.
No, I didn't go to the closing night. I wasn't invited.
No, you were invited, but you didn't
I was not invited. I was not invited, and so I did not go. When I was young, I made a point of going to places I was not invited to. But now, no.
But it's gone, you know, and Hilly has passed away. Most of the Ramones have passed away, you know? So things disappear.
It's strange that it lasted that long, right? It lasted maybe 20 years too much, you know? I mean, it was good that it was there, but it was very strange. You know, it's like when you hear that some actor from the silent days has died, and you go, oh my goodness, you know, I feel bad the person died, but they're still alive. I thought they died in 1928 or something, you know?
Is Ken up yet?
They should all be here, come on.
I got sure if you guys came separate or...
Oh, you know, we all take our own jet. I just heard Keith doing, I hear Keith.
Yeah, Bill was...
Right? That's Strang, right? Can you hear it? How obnoxious.
Drop off at the hotel.
Okay, let's get to work. Consciously, I don't even consider us a part of the music industry. We just like exist on some little asteroid floating around, you know, in the music heavens somewhere.
The funny thing about industry people is that they're usually have a soft spot or a warm spot in their heart for the Fleshtones.
It's what's happening in this world today. It's a teenage decision.
We'll be approaching somebody as far as, let's say, a recording deal or something to do with the music industry, and the person will say, the Fleshtones, oh my God, I love the Fleshtones. I met my wife at a Fleshtones show. In fact, right side of a good thing, we played as we walked down the aisle. I loved, excuse me, sign the band? Oh, can I call you back?
Now we don't care what our parents say. The kids today, they'll dig him anyway.
In a better world, they'd say, yeah, if I had my own record company, I'd love to sign the Fleshtones, but I don't. I work for Columbia or I work for this, that, and the other, and it's just not going to fly. Luckily, we met up with Glenn of IRS Records, who actually was one of those guys that loved the band as a teenager and said to us as a very young man, if I ever put a record company together, I promise I will sign the Fleshtones. And good God, he stuck to his word. Years later, he signed the Fleshtones.
Can show you how. Dance with the gourmet all night long. You got to dance with the gourmet. Let me sing you a song. I gotta dance with the man all night long. I'm like in a trance with the man. Let me sing you a song. You got to dance with that gourmet.
I feel fortunate that we've been able to work with artists that we really like, and that's been a great thing, and they've always been one of my favorite bands of, you know, all time.
You know, 30 plus years later, I think we finally know how to make records. It took a long time, and it's really probably only in the last 8 years of our history that we really got it together how Fleshtones make albums.
They rehearsed their songs like a new band, like a band that was just starting out for the first time. Had their parts down, had worked out all the bugs before they came here, you know, and were just excited to do it.
Okay. What does that sound like?
I think it's the best performance you've done in your life.
Oh, fuck, good. They're getting better.
I feel kind of lucky to be a part of that because, I mean, you can, you know, produce and you can, you know, arrange and you can Pro Tools it and add strings and sitar or whatever, but if that thing is there, it's just, it's special. You can hear that on the CD. It's like, it's just, you know, we love doing this, and you know, here it is. I mean, it's this intrinsic thing that you can hear sometimes in a recording. It's like, it's kind of this magical thing that happened with them.
Get rid of that guide vocal track. Get rid of it.
Which vocal track?
Guide vocal.
The guide vocal. Oh yeah, yeah. It's still there at the end of the
Keith,
song.
why don't you give it a blast?
Why don't we want to get into perfectionism and overly professionalism is that neither of those things are any fun. Quite honestly, they take the fun, they suck the fun right out of everything. And if this wasn't fun, do you think I'd still be in this band?
May I say something to Mr. Strang? My young vocal protege. Keith, that first verses sound great.
The past 3 records with Yep Rock have been more the same as far as what we're rooted out of. Really just 3-chord, simple garage rock and roll, guitar oriented. But through the 30 years, God, we went through many different phases, I would say. I think it's about time to go through another one, but I don't know what it would be.
We spell S-A-N-T-A-C-L-A-U-S.
We need children's voices on Hooray for Santa Claus. And we have 2 children, Sergey, my boy, and his neighbor and friend, Helen, from up the block.
You do hear yourself.
Bill Clinton's wife.
Set it up just yet.
Oh.
You're gonna set it up.
Did you say Hillary Clinton? I said Bill Clinton's wife. I know, but
One thought occurred to me, Keith, Ivan, that maybe in the organ solo part, just for that one little part, that there should be a bunch of rather manic jabbering about, like, yeah, man, it's Santa, baby. Oh, yeah. Just like really, just, oh man, Santa is groovy, baby. Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's good enough.
That should be good.
Cool.
It would be a real perverse act to quit the band now. It would be the height of perversity and senselessness. First of all, what difference would it make in the scheme of the world? It doesn't hurt to be in the band at all. And as a matter of fact, the band is good, keeps you in shape.
I'm glad that I can be doing this. I'm looking forward to a new album coming out. Looking forward to playing in Europe next year. I'm looking forward to do good shows. That's what it's about for me.
And I could never give this up. I mean, it's going to take, you know, quite honestly, one of our deaths or I can't think of another reason, actually.
But if we get dumped again, we're not going to stop. I really don't see us as stopping playing. I think the only thing that's going to make us stop playing is when somebody dies.
It's a really amazing story of perseverance, you know, and sticking to a dream, no matter how dim and frayed around the edges it gets.
Seems it always happens right in front of my friends. You started a fight.
Those guys on stage just clearly having an absolute ball, having a blast, and just this sense of we are not going to go away. We are going to carry on doing what we love doing.
It's nothing new. It's just bigger and better.
The story is not over. I don't think of anything that's going to stop the Fleshtones except time.
I love it. I love that all that stuff still exists and still exists with a fervor and a passion.
Those guys, it's like they have to keep coming back. They owe it to me.
They don't care about anything but their thing, and that's why I think their fans love them. They're true to themselves.
You can't be trained to feel that way. It's just who you are.
And it's so deep in their blood, this love of that original rock and roll music, and that's what they're fully committed to.
I think they're at their best right now.
We're all here. I'm here.
Just keep on doing it. If you really want to, you know, what are you going to do? Die? Of course, but...
Standing on the line, just a waste of my time down at the key food. You know what I mean? And people slack-jawed, checked out and overdrawn.